Hello there, and welcome to Dharma Science Radio, your one-stop shop for the most foundational and powerful awareness on the human design system that I can possibly deliver for you. My name is Ian, and today we're talking about the rapper named Eminem. So the first thing I'd like to say is that Eminem, if you happen to see this yourself and you would like it taken down, let me know. Because I'm about to be airing some dirty laundry, if you know what I mean. We're going into some details, and I understand if you don't want that made all public, it's no big deal to me. I'm simply sharing so that I can get the word out. These mechanics make a difference. So without further ado, let's dive right on in. So first off, I'd like to talk about the profile. We're dealing with a 4-1 generator. So this is different from the previous profiles we've been looking at in this series. Now we're talking about the fourth line. You see, the fourth line is something very interesting. The fourth line is the opportunist. The fourth line is the networker. The fourth line is the one who shares their influence throughout their network and witnesses what happens as a result. They're best working with their friends and family and colleagues and coworkers. They have influence amongst their own group, their tribe, their personal collective of people. And so their influence is less upon the stranger. And yet when somebody gets as big as Eminem has, strangers get influenced and get brought into the fold of their own tribe, their own group of people. And so with the first line in the unconscious, that means that he was coming from a solid foundation in his unconscious. His body holds a defendable position, if you couldn't tell already by the style of music that he rapped. So the 4-1 is a very interesting profile. The 4-1 is called the juxtaposition profile. This is in between the personal destiny of the lower trigrams, the deeply self-absorbed, and it's in between the upper trigrams of the transpersonal profiles that are wrapped up in the social games and all their karma with other people. This is a juxtaposition. This is a fixed fate, a very specific way in which he operates and exists in the world. So you can't really influence him very much. He's got his own perspective. His body has an unconscious, solid foundation, and his personality is interested in externalizing that foundation throughout the network opportunistically for influence. There's very little room to be influenced by the other on this profile level. However, you'll see there are lots of energy centers undefined here. We have an undefined crown, undefined ajna, undefined throat, undefined ego, undefined solar plexus, and undefined root. Many different themes of wisdom that can be learned by this very powerful integrative survival unit of a person, if I can put them that way. But first, I'd like to talk about some of these keynotes that I saw that I really appreciated, such as his 32nd gate in the fourth line of his personality sun, this gate of continuity in the line of right is might. So there's principles in here. There is this personality that sees what is right, and by seeing what is right, that gives him the strength and the might to honor the principles that he's here to externalize. In the personality earth, how his personality grounds into this plane is through the gate of growth in the line of the middleman. So he's playing a middleman for the growth of our experience here on this planet. In the unconscious, we see the 60th gate in the design earth, the gate of acceptance and the line of acceptance. This is all about the limitations, that the only way he can actually do anything on this planet is by accepting that he has physical form limitations, and through the acceptance of those limitations, his body can actually ground into the earth and he can relax a little bit, or turn things back up and share another verse. Now, the unconscious sun is in the gate of stimulation with the line of quality. So we're bringing all kinds of different qualities of stimulation to the forefront from his unconscious. So right there, first off, the fact that we're dealing with somebody who has this need for continuity based in principles, who is a middleman for growth, accepting their limitations through the stimulation of various different qualities. Now, we can read those keynotes in all kinds of different ways, and I don't want to get lost in the endless nuance of details there. However, I thought it was very fascinating as a rapper, with his particular taste and quality and style, to see these keynotes show up. And looking down here in the personality moon, the gate of principles, in the line of law of necessity. So what is truly necessary to obtain and sustain and continue the principles? That's where his personality is focused in on. And then right here in the personality Mars, this is the mutation that he's bringing into the world, and it's a mutation around degeneracy in the gate of depth. And I just thought that was so extraordinarily fascinating, considering the work he's doing and how degenerate it may appear, that he's actually bringing a change to the depth of what it means to actually engage with degenerate behavior, because his personality sun is shining through the principles of what is right, and that gives him strength to continue forward. There's a lot of beauty in there.
The biggest problem I was having was getting my head wrapped around all of the content and all of the information held within the human design system. Ian really made it simple for me to engage my curiosity, for one, but made it approachable enough to where I felt like I could immediately get value out of the conversation and immediately start applying things to my day-to-day life, where it didn't seem like some big puzzle I had to solve. It was an immediate solution to something that I was dealing with in my life. How am I going to apply this with any sense of reality? And he made it so simple and so easy that I have now been on another year and a half since that first meeting with him and my first introduction into human design. And it has really given my overall life experience and the quality of my conscious experience a great boost, and overall something I would highly recommend to anyone else that's early on in their years, or even months sometimes, like I was at human design.
I've been following Ian for about a year now, and I got the chance to work with him recently. The way that his knowledge of human design expands when you're in his presence to fit what you need exactly is something that is a joy to work with and a joy to see live in person.
Oh my gosh, this session was so unique because Ian really made it feel like I didn't have to worry about expectations. I didn't have to have a certain outcome be a certain way, and really helped me understand that I could just kind of ease my way into this. And he was so conversational about it that it felt like I looked up and the time had gone so quickly that I wasn't expecting it to be as much value as it was, for as easy as it felt.
I definitely recommend getting a reading, getting a chance to work with Ian. He's one of the kindest souls I've met and has a really firm grasp on the information in human design. Definitely recommend.
I would recommend working with Ian for anyone that is wanting to have someone that will be both there to nurture your curiosity about human design and the fun things that you can explore about it, but also will challenge you and push you in a direction that will get you up and moving and using it in your real life. I think more than anything else, if you want to not just mentally know this system, if you want to understand how to apply it and use it and see immediate results, Ian is the person I would recommend for that. I think it is important for people to remember that this is an experiment. It is not something that you can try without trying. Like can't get the flavor of something unless you've chewed it up and swallowed it, right? And this is one of those things where Ian does such a wonderful job of making each thing that you're experiencing understandable and allows you to apply it with repetition. So it's not just a one-time thing. You learn how to build really good habits and how to build really good ways to honor your own authority in your own life. And from there, he lets you go and then you can fly. It's pretty remarkable how well he sets up my overall experience within human design for the purpose of changing my life, which it really did.
However, when we're dealing with the body graph, the basics here, I was getting into the advanced stuff for a moment there. In the body graph here on the basics, we're seeing a single definition sacral authority generator through the integration circuitry. And it has to do with this 34, 57, 10. This is the primary channel circuitry field situation we're dealing with. So now there are multiple different channels that we can read from this situation, from the 34 to the 57, from the 57 to the 10, from the 10 to the 34, from the 10 to the 57. These are all different channels that are activated within this design. I think if I scroll down here, it'll give me a little description on some of these. So here we can take a peek at these channels, this channel of exploration, this channel of perfected form, and this channel of power. We can see very clearly how Eminem is exploring the power of perfected form. He is exploring what it means to perfect form through power. Now, this is very much what he's doing in his music, as far as I can tell. You see, this 34 is the raw power of the sacral. It is perhaps the most powerful gate in the sacral, except for maybe the 14. These two are extremely powerful gates. And this 34 is basically very busy. It is powerful because it needs to do any and everything other than sex, fundamentally. Whatever else I need to do, this is how we survive. Because if all we do is sex, then there's too many of us and we die because we can't feed everyone. So this 34th gate is very busy. It is always busy demonstrating its power in one way, shape, or form. This 57th gate on the other end in the spleen is about the intuition in the moment. Now this is a very subtle, a very penetrating, intuitive awareness. The 10 is all about the behavior. This is all about exactly how he behaves himself in the moment or not, and his ability to demonstrate self-love. This is one of these love gates about understanding that this is who I am, this is what I do, this is how I behave. I can see here the line of the heretic, the direct and overt challenge to norms. Now, I'm sure we can all see that in the music. You know, you own it. You better never let it go. This is direct and overt challenge to the norms. This is that ability for him to engage in his own behavior without any shame, without any guilt, without any remorse, purely coming from a place of self-love. Purely coming from that solid unconscious foundation in the first line, being externalized opportunistically for influence. It's always about those opportunities, waiting for that right chance to strike, waiting for that right moment. We can see here in the spleen that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gates activated. There's a very powerful immune system here, a very specific immune system that has depth in the 48. It's got the fear of tomorrow. What's going to happen next? How am I going to manipulate life to allow me and my people to continue surviving? Here in the 32, what ambition is genuine? That gate of continuity, the real principles to understand what is right and to derive might and strength from what is right. Here in the 28, the game player and shaking hands, that ability to make deals and agreements with people, coming through his unconscious, that he's willing to take risks and he's willing to make deals with people. All coming from the spleen that is very interested in survival, because he's got a defined sense of direction in his life. You see, he's not wrapped up in other people guiding him this or that way. He's a very solid being in and of himself. This circuitry here, this 57-10-34, this is about individuality, integrating this moment and surviving. The difference is he doesn't have the 20. So it's not about communicating specifically the uniqueness available in this moment. I see in here there was something about routine. In his personality south node, the 62nd gate in the first line, the gate of detail in the line of routines. So he's leaving behind routines, or he's coming from routines. His environment, the way in which he relates to environment, has a relationship with the routine. And in the unconscious, with the self-discipline to adhere to those routines. And over time, that detailed focus and the discipline to follow through with those routines moves into this gate of mystery, the 61st gate. The appeal of the mystery and the attraction to what is mysterious and the occult knowledge of the mystery. So we're seeing somebody that comes from a worldly space of terms and definitions and discipline and routine, who is moving in towards a world of mystery, occult knowledge, and the appeal of the unknown. We also see the 46th gate. This is a beautiful gate. It's one of my favorites. This is the determination of the self in the lines of pacing and the prima donna. You see, in the unconscious, we're making a dramatic show about everything. And in the conscious personality, we're pacing, or we're maintaining this flow. That is the determination to be discovered. In the classical I Ching, this 46th gate is called pushing upward towards heaven. It's all about the love of the body and the determination of the self to continue. Now, all of that sounds beautiful, you know? All of that sounds wonderful. I've been talking about the truth in this moment. I've been talking about the facts of the matter. Now to dive into the not self, to dive into the darkness of what's going on, this undefined root, this undefined solar plexus, this undefined ego, this undefined throat, ajna, head center. Well, there's the need to prove one's worth by being busy, avoiding problems, gathering attention, and pretending to be certain about things that don't matter. You know? He's busy externalizing his influence through this fourth line personality, because all he's got to do is be really busy proving his worth, attracting attention by avoiding problems through the process of being certain about things that don't matter. Yeah, so he's got this fourth gate in the unconscious of an undefined ajna. He's got answers. His body can make up new answers, you know, new lyrics, new words to speak and sing and rap. And all he's got to do is pretend to be certain about it, and he will get your attention. He will prove that he is valuable by avoiding problems, because he's so busy writing and practicing and doing all this stuff, even though a lot of it doesn't matter. So long as he can get your attention and pretend to be certain about something that doesn't matter, then he can prove his worth by avoiding problems. Now, isn't that wild? And you see, this ego center is wide open. And this might have helped him a little bit in taking things perhaps a little less personally. The fact that in a previous lifetime, mystically speaking, he's completed the lessons around the ego, around the heart, around willpower. And so in this lifetime, all the willpower we see expressed from him in his music, this is a reflection of what he's learned in the world. It's a reflection of what the world needs to hear. The world needs to hear this determination of himself to integrate this specific moment by being busy and expressing the intuition that he has. And it allows him to prove his worth. It allows him to receive that validation, which he may or may not really care so much about in this lifetime. When a center is wide open like this, there can definitely still be the pull of an undefined center with a hanging gate like this 49. I imagine this is perhaps more important for him, that he can avoid problems by adhering to his principles. The law of necessity. Revolution has no support unless it is perceived as necessary. And you might notice if you listen to his music that everything sounds very necessary. This is required. I am certain that this is the answer. I am certain that I can get your attention and we can avoid this problem, because we're going to be really busy accepting our limitations or not. We're going to be working with our limitations through acceptance or denial of those limitations. You see, this undefined throat center, it's a very interesting one, because this need to gather attention, we see tons of activations here. So we see a throat that can be tempted to overwork itself. Perhaps that could be why he creates a lot of music at a certain period of time, and then I believe kind of disappears and stops for a while. And then boom, hey, I'm back, Because if you overwork this center, you can exhaust it, this throat center about communication. Whereas the mastery is the ability to gather and disperse attention at will, at command, the mastery of attention, being wise around how to gather it and how to disperse it. That's about all I have for Eminem at this moment. If you've enjoyed the show, feel free to like and subscribe, share with your friends. Let me know what you think. If you got any comments or questions, let me know down below. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Take care. Bye for now. If you have enjoyed the show and would like to learn more about how all of this applies specifically to you, then kindly refer to the link in this video's description, Private Consultation. Here, we can dive into all of the details together in a recorded call. May your signature vibration of satisfaction, success, peace, and surprise find you in a good way.